What's up, guys? Welcome back to Desktop. I'm Joe, and this is my Outlier Backdraft, my first ever long-range build, and we're going to talk about how you can get into long-range shooting for under $2,000, and why this may be the rifle that you want to do it with. Let's get into it. If you guys like Desktop and you find these videos to be informative or helpful, or just like seeing my beautiful face across your screen, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. YouTube recently told me that the reason no one sees my stuff is because you guys don't have the notifications turned on. So go ahead and try that. And of course, a thank you to my channel sponsors. These guys keep the channel alive, and you already know what they do. But of course, if you need optics, Gideon Optics. If you need a belt, Hunter Constantine carry belts. But also, you could comment down below, because until the end of the year, I'm giving away a belt every single week. And don't forget, of course, I'm sorry to my upstairs neighbors, but if you use the code PLEASE, not only does that directly support the channel and tell my sponsors to keep my lights on so I can keep making this for you, but it also lets me buy Chinese garbage so I can tell you if it is actually just as good as the US manufactured stuff or not. Now let's get into the build. Okay, so the Outlier build barely fits in the frame, but it's a good thing because I have a ton of B-roll of me shooting this because I've been shooting it a whole bunch. Tip to butt here, on the front of the rifle, I have the Texas Flood from Fletcher Rifle Works. It is basically a 3D printed polonium, fully licensed, of course, to Texas Flood to sell. So it's a super lightweight suppressor that seems to be really, really good on this bolt action. Believe it or not, the Backdraft barrels now come with a suppressor with purchase of a barrel. I just have a very expensive suppressor because I can, and why not? So if you purchase the Backdraft barrel, as far as I know, they are coming with suppressors. I can't speak for the quality of those suppressors, but I assume that it is pretty good. You can't go wrong with a can that doesn't cost you anything extra and comes with your barrel. And that's of course where we get into the barrel choice. This is the Outlier Backdraft barrel, and I went with this because I saw the boys at Ballistic High Speed make a video on it, and of course because Outlier agreed to send it to me, which makes it significantly cheaper for me to put into my build. This is in 308. My chamber is 308 for this because it is my first PRS build, and I figured I might as well learn the basics before I get something fancy that makes me a better shooter like 6.5 Creedmoor. The way the Backdraft barrel works, if I can make it really, really brief for you, is it takes the blast baffle of your can and extends it to the entirety of the barrel via the carbon fiber shrouding. I tried to get footage of this in slow-mo, but I could not, and Ballistic High Speed, they already did a video on this barrel because it won like most innovative brand thing at SHOT Show one year, and so they did a slow-mo of it, and I saw the slow-mo of it, and I was so sold on the design that I was like, this is definitely what I need to put on my rifle to try it out and see if it is good, and it is. So then you got, of course, the night vision bridge in case I want to hunt at night, hunting hogs and stuff. You know, we don't do that in Utah, but in Texas, it's definitely something that they do. And then the Outlier chassis is what this is, of course, mated to, and it's because it's reasonably priced and it's very lightweight. This whole build comes in at 11.4 pounds, so just over 11 pounds for this build. Not a heavy rifle by any stretch, not an ultralight build, because again, I do want to be able to shoot long range with this, but it's not heavy by any stretch of the imagination. I know a lot of guys get up there on like 30 to 40 pounds with their super long range precision builds. I'm shooting 308, so I'm not doing that, and that's kind of for me a little much. I went with the Outlier chassis. I did mention obviously that they were willing to send me stuff, so did the fact that it was way cheaper for me to get it for free play a role? Yes, except for the fact that MDT would also send me a chassis. I wanted to go with the Outlier build because of the price point. I wanted to see what kind of value you can get here, and believe it or not, the whole build without the suppressor is under $2,000. And then Outlier agreed to give me code PLEASE that I believe stacks on top of any existing discounts. So if you are putting in an order for one of these, you can stack code PLEASE on top of that and get yourself a discount. This is just just the Arkin SH4J Gen 2. This is a kind of just a lightweight optic. It's an MRAD, which is fine for me because, like I said, I don't know anything about PRS, so I just learned MRAD as my starting. Hopefully that doesn't hurt me in the long term, and honestly, I don't think I'm skilled enough where it will matter, so if I need to switch, I can. This scope works really well. I think it's worth noting that the screws did back out on my zero stop optic. So I pulled the zero stop out after my first time shooting this, and then I did put blue thread locker on every single screw around it, and I haven't had issues since then. I think that that is worth doing. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary or not. And then the scope illuminates, but I have never turned the illuminator on one bit at all ever, so I couldn't tell you if it's daylight bright because I've never ever needed it, but I assume that it will work. The clarity on this scope is really, really good, as I will show you during my long range grouping. I'll show you the clarity through the scope because it is really good, and that's of course one of the reasons I went with this. The price point is really, really hard to beat for this level of clarity, and again, this is a definitely budget build for me to see if PRS is something I want to get into, and if it's as fun as I had the last few weeks, then I'm probably, unfortunately, going to be sinking a bunch more money into PRS stuff. We got a Pristine Action. Pristine Action's actually one of the only actions I know anything about because I met them at my very first ever event when I was just a wee lad starting out YouTube, and they're very buttery smooth. I think it's pretty obvious that this is one of the smoothest actions on the market. They are really nice, made in Canada, great action, so I just went with that on the build for this. I think that it's a great action. There's nothing else much to say there. I don't think Pristine Actions knows who I am at all, but Pristine, if you're watching this, I met your sales rep probably 2 or 3 years ago, and he sold me on your action so hard that to this date, I knew that I wanted a Pristine Action in my long range build, and no regrets there. It is so significantly smoother than, actually, this is my super lubed up, barely shot Aerosolus, and it is, there we go. Okay. I thought that wasn't coming. Once you... Now, there's nothing wrong with the Aerosolus action, of course, but I wanted to demonstrate how smooth the Pristine Action is. It's just unreal. It's like it's on ball bearings. Hopefully you guys can hear that. It's just so smooth. So really great action here. That's what I wanted to go with because I figure at some point I'll probably rebarrel this with a 6.5 Creedmoor, and I wanted to make sure I had a high level action that could compete or hold up for a very long time. And again, pretty affordable, very reasonably priced. The salesman sold me on these really, really hard, and he has just convinced me that you're getting an absolute value with the Pristine Actions. So a Men 2 grip, this just came on it. Thank you, Outlier, for sending me this. Otherwise, I'd be running the B&T grip because that is usually what I run. And then it looks like there are some 3D printed parts on this. There's a 3D printed mag release on this, and then a 3D printed cheek weld. This is not like 3D print. It's like MJF printed, so really good quality 3D printing, but 3D printed nonetheless. The extended mag release is nice. It makes it really easy to drop the mag. Outlier has their own mags here, but these are 100% just 5-round Men 2 magazines. While I'm on the topic of magazines, I was told that bolt guns are kind of finicky on the mags and feeding, and I know that my Solus there does not like certain magazines, but this feeds with the Magpul AICS pattern mag, as well as the MDT AICS pattern mags, and these are the 10-rounders. I had no issues with feeding, and then obviously no issues with the 5-round mag that it came with, which is what I have in it. For the sake of you guys seeing it on camera. So when I first got this rifle, it did have a muzzle brake on it instead of a backdraft, and I took it out to shoot for its very first time, its maiden voyage, with the muzzle brake on it, and I was not the only person there. I had my buddy, the Dollar Sportsman's, with me because he does a lot more long-range stuff than I do. He has about an $8,000 MDT build, and he shot this, I shot this, and I was incredibly impressed with just how consistent it was. I bought a whole bunch of different boxes of ammunition because I was told by people that some guns just don't like some rounds and some barrels just do like some rounds. So with the muzzle brake on, I've decided that it works the best with the Hornady Match ELDM ammo, and I Was figuring it was between this or the federal gold medal match from what I was finding online. So the 168 grain, it seemed to really, really like. And then we were able to make hits out to 1,100 yards with the first rounds through this thing. Not even after its first cleaning. It was incredibly consistent. I was very impressed with it. And that kind of set it up to be a rifle that I really, really enjoyed reviewing. After I shot it with the muzzle brake and I was fully concussed, I decided to take advantage of the whole point of getting this and the whole reason of why you might want to consider this when you are building your first long-range rifle or a hunting rifle of any sorts. That is the backdraft barrel. So this barrel itself is not as thick as you might think. It's just a giant gas chamber that extends the blast baffle of your suppressor. So this is completely hollow all the way down to here, and it lets the gas escape backwards into it, enhancing your suppression and kind of making it stay cooler. I noticed that even when this got super hot, it would cool down really, really fast. That could be because I've got a titanium suppressor, so they heat up fast, but they also cool down pretty fast. And then the carbon fiber shrouding on the barrel keeps it cool. But you have to remember that you are taking a bunch of the heat away from this original blast baffle by opening the entirety of the barrel. This results in what I would consider to be really, really quiet shooting. 308 is not a joke. It's something I've shot a lot of, and not out of bolt actions, but out of like scars and bigger rifles. And I've never had one that I've shot suppressed and thought to myself, I could take my ears off. And then I got this, and wow. I will show you guys the clip because, yeah, you can shoot this with no ear pro. Not that I would recommend it, but you can. Impact. You can hear it slamming that thing. I'm gonna take my ear out just for the sake of saying I did. All right, ear is unplugged. Impact. So my ear is not ringing, but it's definitely not pleasant. In addition to that, I did group this. Unfortunately, I am not as skilled at PRS as you guys might think. So my first time going out, I had a table and bags, and I learned that I need to buy a table and bags if I want to continue long range shooting and getting really, really precise groupings, because my groups while I am seated and on a tripod are not that great. Neither are my standing groups from a tripod, but I'm using the cheapest Amazon tripod I could because, again, I just wanted to get into long range builds and long range itself, and so the name of the game was how cheap can I get into it but still get something good. And I am still pretty impressed with this, and I will roll the tape for you guys to see kind of what kind of grouping I got, even just sitting down with no bags. Okay, so I've zeroed the rifle. We are 100 yards away from this tiny piece of paper, and I'm going to grab a fist-sized target and attempt to get a grouping better than the grouping I have here. This was from zeroing it. New sticker over it, and we forgot the spotting scope and camera, so you want to pan over so they can see the car. The car's pretty far away, so thank you HSL Ammunition for sponsoring the channel, and Hornady Ammunition for sending out the bullets specifically for this video, because the ELDM eats apparently out of this gun. We're gonna try it. Trying my best with the 168 grain ELDM. The scope is really good. This is the SH4J Gen 3 from Arkin. It's just a cheap, very affordable scope, and I want to show you guys the clarity through it. So on my phone here, you'll be able to see what's on it right now. I got the target way the heck down there, and I am all the way magnified in at 24x, and then let's see if we can get you a shot through the scope here so you can see just the clarity on this is really good. There we go. Yeah, clarity on that scope for the Arkin's really, really good. I have no complaints. I mean, I did just shoot 1,100 yards with this the other day, but I just want to show you guys that. It's just really good. It's a great clear scope. So anyway, let's stop talking and start shooting poorly, as you guys know I do. So here we go. So either I didn't zero it or I am pulling. We're gonna find out here. Thank you, second shot. Looks like I did not actually zero it that well, but that's okay. You're still seeing them on target. There's 3, 4, and that is a 5-shot grouping. So let's walk down there and check it out. Okay, so 100 yards, fist-sized target. I don't shoot that well, as you guys can tell, but in my defense, I'm not on a table with a sandbag. I'm just in a chair on a tripod, which is $100 from Amazon. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with this grouping. This is definitely a sub MOA rifle if I could shoot sub MOA. This is good. I think we are actually well within sub MOA if you ignore my flyer over here, because this is a pretty large target. If I would have clicked it over properly and zeroed it, instead of shooting here, I'd be hitting the bullseye. And yeah, I mean, we are very golden. This rifle gets a screaming seal of approval, and it's so quiet. I really don't need my ear pro. I'm wearing it because I'm afraid I don't want to lose my hearing. I'm scared. But I've been noticing every time we shoot this, I did have it shot 3 feet away with no ears on, and it's very quiet with the it's very, very quiet with that Fletcher Rifle Works. It's like a 3D printed titanium suppressor. All right, so who is the Backdraft for, and why did I get this? Would I get another one? I think it's for people that want a good rifle. Even if you're into precision shooting, like I said, my buddy had an $8,000 MDT. He's been into precision shooting for a while, and he was very impressed with this rifle, with this overall build. And for the price point, it's even more impressive. Now, obviously, for the hearing safe factor of the 308, if I'm hunting, I do have a way more expensive, I think this is like 1100 bone suppressor on it versus the one that it comes with, the Outlier Backdraft. But I suspect that the whole point's kind of to save your ears, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Backdraft is going to be fine for a shot or two anyway. While you're hunting, this is not very heavy. It's a pretty lightweight build. Like I said, comes in at just over 11 pounds. So for me, this is a pretty lightweight rifle that I can bring with me all day, every day, and it's not going to be so heavy that it's unwieldy. It's also not going to be so light that it moves around really easily. One of the issues I had when I was shooting the Sig Cross is it's a super lightweight rifle, which means that shooter input is greatly affected. Additionally, with something like the Sig Cross, you're kind of limited on your trigger options versus with this. I just dropped in the Rise Armament trigger. I'm very familiar with these, and also Rise gives me a discount code, so I get 20% off with code PLEASE. So it makes their triggers a lot more affordable for me, and I guess a lot more affordable for you now. But yeah, this is my choice of trigger. I actually have it in the 8.6 that's sitting right here behind me too, and I really like it. It works with Remington 700 actions, which the Pristine is obviously based off of, and then I liked the idea that this can be put in anything, so I don't have to run a Pristine action. If I get a new rifle, I want to upgrade my chassis or anything like that, I can pop this out and pop it into something heavier if I really want to. If I shoot out the barrel or I decide to want to switch to 6.5, got a good action that's going to work for a long time. So that was my thought. I was thinking, like, how can I get myself something that's really good? And right now the rifle obviously still shoots better than I do. So Noor did a full video on it, and you can watch his video if you want to see me shoot long range for the first time. 1100 yards does not feel far with this. The clarity of the glass is really good, and I suspect by the time I'm worried about things like the clarity of the glass or the weight of my rifle, I will have enough rounds to be able to justify buying something a little more expensive. I think this rifle is really cool. It's a fantastic first option because not only will it work for hunting, obviously, because it's pretty lightweight, you can wield it around all day, but it is stable enough and heavy enough, and it has all of the bells and whistles of a precision rifle build, so it obviously works for precision shooting as well. I mean, consistent hits at 1100 yard out of a brand new barrel is pretty impressive to me, at least, not knowing a whole ton about long range shooting. And as I get more into it, I suspect I will just enjoy this rifle more and more, because everyone who I have taken it to who is into long range has been thoroughly impressed with it as well. So yeah, if you're considering something like this, you can probably figure out where to find the Outlier Backdraft, because I'm not allowed to say it on YouTube, which is really funny. But if you Google that and then maybe type "please" in at checkout, you might get a discount. So, all right, I'm gonna get back to pretending that I am playing Call of Duty. So thanks so much for watching, guys. And as always, we'll catch you in the next video. For everyone in the comments telling me I need to spread my legs more to get a better platform for shooting, this is for you. 300 yards. Impact! 300 yards!